Yes, it's time. And now I need to go ahead and pin the video on YouTube to my Twitter. By the way, you guys are, to those who recently subscribed to my channel a couple weeks back, earlier in the week, last week, y'all are awesome. Thank you. Okay. Go ahead and streaming, and it streaming the finale of the fifth wave novel. Woohoo! Come tune in. Oh, hold up. Dang it. Hate this frickin' laptop keyboard. Come on. Tune in. And go ahead and pin. Pin. Yay. Alright. Done. Alright, got Code Foray. Hello. And Attack Helicopter Cat. Hello. Alright, I'll get started and of the conclusion in a minute. First, I'll ask, how are you both doing tonight? And how's everyone else who's just watching tonight? Doing good? Had a nice weekend? A nice Thanksgiving weekend? I was out of town Thursday and part of Friday, visiting some relatives. And that was nice. It was very fun. And those of you might have already seen the cats, the 3 cats that belong to my aunt and to my grandma. Ah, I see. Alrighty. That's cool. You could either go back to 2 cents or stick around here. So anyways, yeah, and finishing off what I was saying, yeah, I had a very nice time with my relatives, had a very good Thanksgiving dinner, had fun with their cats, good times. Hope everyone else had at least a decent Thanksgiving. And yeah, I also invited Anarchy Softworks again. We'll see if he shows up sometime later. Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and begin the rehash. It's, picking up from before I continue from where I left off. So basically, what happened last time was Cassie had found her little brother finally, and also had found Ben Parrish, aka Zombie. And so they find each other, and poor Sammy's confused at first because when Ben says that he came to get Sammy out, and then he stares in between them in confusion. Wasn't that Cassie? Wasn't that what Cassie came here to do? And And Sam at one point asks about uh, his and his sister's father, but Cassie can't quite bring it, can't break, can't quite bring herself to reveal the very terrible news about witnessing her dad getting shot by one of by Vosh. Yeah, I think it was Vosh that killed her father. And then um, they had to Cassie and Zombie had to work together to remove the tracker from Sam's neck to get rid of that, because not only would they be tracked by the enemy if they had it, but also Sammy would probably get hurt if the bad guys took the advantage. And in the cliffhanger, when one of the enemies found the three, not long after Sam's tracker had been successfully removed. Alrighty, I guess I will start. Well, if anyone shows late, then they're going to have to catch up. The good thing about videos like this is that they're archived on my YouTube channel, and they could always catch up on what they've missed. So, with that said, let's go ahead and start chapter 85. All right. I lose Sammy for a second time. A silencer soldier takes him away, back to the safe room to be evacuated with the other kids, I guess. Another silencer brings Ben and me to the execution room. The room with the mirror and the button. The room where innocent people are wired up and electrocuted. The room of blood and lies. Seems fitting. Do you know why we will win this war? Vosh asks us after we're locked inside. Why we cannot lose? Because we know how you think. We've been watching you for 6,000 years. When the pyramids rose in the Egyptian desert, we were watching you. When Caesar burned the library at Alexandria, we were watching you. When you crucified that first century Jewish peasant, we were watching. When Columbus set foot in the New World, you fought a war to free millions of your fellow humans from bondage. When you learned how to split the atom, when you first ventured beyond your atmosphere, what were we doing? Ben isn't looking at him. Neither of us is. We're both sitting in front of the mirror, looking straight ahead at our distorted reflections in the broken glass. The room on the other side is dark. You're watching us, I say. Bosch is sitting in front of the monitor, about a foot away from me. On my other side, Ben, and behind us, a very well-built silencer. You're learning how you think. That's the secret to victory, as Sergeant Parrish here already knows. Understanding how your enemy thinks. The arrival of the mothership was not the beginning, but the beginning of the end. And now here you are, in front row seat for the finale. A special sneak peek into the future. Would you like to see the future? Your future? Would you like to stare all the way down to the bottom of the human cup? Vosh presses a button on the keyboard. The lights in the room on the other side of the mirror flicker on. There is a chair, a silencer standing beside it, and strapped to the chair is my brother, Sammy. Thick wire is attached to his head. This is the future, Vosh whispers. The human animal, bound, its death at our fingertips. And when you have finished the work that we've given you, we will press the execute button, and your deplorable stewardship of this planet will come to an end. You don't have to do this, I shout. The silencer behind me puts a hand on my shoulder and squeezes hard. but not hard enough to keep me from jumping out of the chair. All you have to do is implant us and download us into Wonderland. Won't that tell you everything you want to know? You don't have to kill him. Cassie, Ben said softly. He's going to kill him anyway. You should you shouldn't listen to him, young lady. Bosch says. He's weak. He's always been weak. You've shown more pluck and determination in a few hours than he has in his miserable lifetime. He nods to the silencer, who yanks me back into the chair. I am going to download you, Vosh tells me, and I am going to kill Sergeant Parrish. But you can save the child if you tell me who helped you infiltrate this base. Won't downloading me tell you that? I ask. While I'm thinking, Evan is alive. Then I think, no, maybe he isn't. He could have been killed in the bombing, vaporized like everything else on the surface. It could be that Vosh, like me, doesn't know whether Evan's alive or dead. Because someone helped you, Vosh says, ignoring my question, and I suspect that someone is not someone like Mr. Parrish here. He or they would be someone more like, well, me. Someone who would know how to defeat the Wonderland program by hiding your true memories, the same method we have used for centuries to hide ourselves from you. I'm shaking my head. I have no idea what he's talking about. True memories? Birds are the most common, Bosch says. He's absently running his finger over the button marked execute. Owls. During the initial phase, when we were inserting ourselves into you, we used the screen memory of an owl to hide the fact from the expectant mother. I hate birds, I whisper. Bosch smiles. The most useful of this planet's indigenous fauna, diverse, considered benign for the most part. So ubiquitous. They're practically invisible. Did you know they're descended from the dinosaurs? There's a very satisfying irony in that. Dinosaurs made way for you, and now with the help of their descendants, you will make way for us. No one helped me, I screech, cutting off the lecture. I did it all myself. Really? Then how was it at the precise moment you were killing Dr. Pam in Hangar 1, two of our sentries are shot, another eviscerated, and a fourth hurled 100 feet down from his post in the South Watchtower? I don't know anything about that. I just came to find my brother. His face darkens. There really is no hope, you know. All your daydreams and childish fantasies about defeating us. Useless. I open my mouth, and the words come out. They just come out. Fuck you. And his finger comes down hard on the button, like he hates it. Like the button has a face, and its face is a human face. The face of the sentient cockroach, and his finger, the boot, stomping down. Oh boy. Tense moment there. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta fix the volume. Oops. I forgot to do that. Okay. It's better now. I forgot to set my mic volume earlier. Yeah. Okay. Next. 86. I don't know what I did first. I think I screamed. I also know I ripped free from the silencer's grip and lunged at Vosh with the intention of tearing his eyeballs out. But I don't remember which came first, the scream or the lunge. Ben throwing his arms around me to hold me back. I know that came after the scream and the lunge. He threw his arms around me and pulled me back because I was focused on Vosh, on my hate. I didn't even look through the mirror at my brother, but Ben had been looking at the monitor, and the word that popped up when Vosh hit the execute button. Oops. I whip around to the mirror. Sammy is still alive, crying buckets, but alive. Beside me, Vosh stands up so fast the chair flies across the room and smacks against the wall. He's hacked into the mainframe and overridden the program. He snarls at the silencer. He'll cut the power next. Hold them here. He yells at the man standing beside Sammy. Secure that door. No one leaves until I get back. He slams out of the room. The door clicks. No way out now. Or there is a way. The way I took the first time I was trapped in this room. I glance up at the grating. Forget it, Cassie. It's you and Ben against two silencers. Ben's hurt. Don't even think about it. No, it's me and Ben and Evan against the silencers. Evan is alive. And if Evan's alive, we haven't reached the end, the bottom of the human cup. The the boot hasn't crushed the roach. Not yet. And that's when I see it drop between the slats and tumble onto the floor, the body of a real cockroach, freshly squashed. I watch it fall in slow motion, so slow I can see the tiny bounce when it hits the floor. You want to compare yourself to an insect, Cassie? My eyes fly back to the grate, where a shadow flickers, like the flurry of a mayfly's wings. I whispered to Ben Parrish, the one with Sammy. He's mine. He's startled. Startled, Ben whispers back to me, what? I drive my shoulder into our silencer's gut, catching him off guard, and he stumbles backward beneath the grate, his arms flailing for balance, and Evan's bullet tears into his fully human brain, killing him instantly. I have this gun before I have his gun before he hits the floor, and I have one chance, one shot through the hole I had made earlier. If I miss, Sammy is dead. The silencer is turning on him even as I turn on him. But I had an excellent instructor, one of the best marksmen in the world, even when there were 7 billion people in it. It isn't exactly like shooting a can from a fence post. It's actually a lot easier. His head is closer and a heck of a lot bigger. Sammy's halfway to me before the guy's body hits the floor. I pull him through the hole. Ben is looking at us, at the dead silencer, at the other dead silencer, at the gun in my hand. He doesn't know what to look at. I'm looking up at the grate. We're clear, I call up to him. He knocks once against the side. I don't get it at first. Then I laugh. Let's establish a code for when you want to go all creeper on me. One knock means you'd like to come in. Yes, Evan, I'm laughing so hard it's starting to hurt. You can come in. I'm about to pee myself with relief that we're all alive, but mostly because he is. He drops into the room, landing on the balls of his feet like a cat. I'm in his arms in the time it takes to say I love you, which he does, stroking my hair, whispering my name in the words, my mayfly. How did you find us? I ask him. He's so completely with me, so there. It's like I'm seeing his yummy chocolate eyes for the first time, feeling his strong arms and his soft lips for the first time. Easy. Somebody was up there ahead of me and left a blood trail. Cassie? It's Sammy, holding onto Ben, because he's feeling the Ben thing a little more than he is the Cassie one at the moment. Who's this guy falling from the ductwork, and what's he doing with my sister? This must be Sammy, Evan says. This is Sammy, I say. Oh, and this is Ben Parrish, Ben says. Ben Parrish? Evan looks at me. That Ben Parrish? Ben, I say, my face on fire. I want to laugh and crawl under the counter at the same time. This is Evan Walker. Is he your boyfriend? Sammy asks. I don't know what to say. Ben looks totally lost, Evan completely amused, and Sammy just damn curious. It's my first truly awkward moment in the alien lair, and I've been through my share of moments. He's a friend from high school, I mutter. And Evan corrects me, since it's clear I've lost my mind. Actually, Sam, Ben is Cassie's friend from high school. She's not my friend, Ben says. I mean, I guess I kind of remember her. Then Evan's words sink in. How do you know who I am? He doesn't, I fairly shout. Cassie told me about you, Evan says. I elbow him in the ribs, and he gives me a look like, what? Maybe we can chat about how everybody knows one another later, I plead with Evan. Right now, don't you think it would be a good idea for us to leave? Right. Evan nods. Let's go. He looks at Ben. You're injured. Ben shrugs. A couple of torn stitches. I'm okay. I slip the silencer's gun into my empty holster, realize Ben will need a weapon, and pop through the hole in the mirror to fetch it. They're all still standing around when I get back, Ben and Evan smiling at each other, knowingly, in my opinion. What are we standing around for? I ask, my voice harsher than I intended. I scoot the chair beside the silencer's body and motion toward the grate. Evan, you should take point. We're not going that way, Evan says back. He takes a key for card from the silencer's pouch and swipes it through the door lock. The light flashes green. We're walking out? I ask. Just like that? Just like that, Evan answers. He checks out the corridor first, then motions for us to follow. And we step out of the execution room. The door locks behind us. The hallway is eerily quiet, feels deserted. You said you were going to cut the power, I whisper, pulling the gun from my holster. Evan holds up a silver object that looks like a flip phone. I am, right now. He hits a button, and the corridor plunges into darkness. I can't see anything. My free hand shoots into the dark, searching for Sammy's. I find Ben's instead. He grips my hand hard before letting it go. Little fingers tug at my pant leg, and I pull them up, hook one through my belt loop. Ben, hold on to me, Evan says softly. Cassie, hold on to Ben. It isn't far. I expected a slow shuffle of this rumba line through the pitch dark, but we take off fast, nearly tripping over one another's heels. He must be able to see in the dark, another cat-like quality. We don't go very far before we're clustered and around a door. At least I think it's a door. It's smooth, not like the textured cinder block walls. Someone, has to be Evan, pushes against the smooth surface, and there's a puff of fresh, cold air. Stairs? I whisper. I'm completely blind and disoriented, but I think these might be the same stairs I came down when I first got here. Halfway up, you're going to hit some debris, Evan says. But you should be able to squeeze through. Be careful. It might be a little unstable. When you get to the top, head due north. Do you know which way is north? Ben says, I do, or at least I know how to figure it out. What do you mean when we get to the top? I demand. Aren't you coming with us? I feel his hand on my cheek. I know what this means. I slap his hand away. You're coming with us, Evan, I say. There's something I have to do. That's right. My hand flails for his in the dark. I find it and pull hard. You have to come with us. I'll find you, Cassie. Don't I always find you? I don't, Evan. You don't know you'll be able to find me. Cassie. I don't like the way he says my name. His voice is too soft, too sad, too much like a goodbye voice. I was wrong when I said I was both and neither. I can't be. I know that now. I have to choose. Wait a minute, Ben says. Cassie, is this guy one of them? It's complicated, I answer. We'll go over it later. I grab Evan's hand both in mine and press it against my chest. Don't leave me again. You left me, remember? He spreads his fingers over my heart like he's holding it, like it belongs to him. The hard fought for territory he's won, fair and square. I give in. What am I going to do? Put a gun to his head? He's gotten this far, I tell myself. He'll get the rest of the way. What's due north? I ask, pushing against his fingers. I don't know, but it's the shortest path to the farthest spot. The farthest spot from what? From here? Wait for the plane. When the plane takes off, run. Ben, do you think you can run? I think so. Run fast? Yes. He doesn't sound too confident about it, though. Wait for the plane, Evan whispers. Don't forget. He kisses me hard on the mouth, and then the stairwell goes all Evanless. I can feel Ben's breath on my neck, hot in the cool air. I don't understand what's happening here, Ben says. Who is that guy? What is he? Where'd he come from? And where's he going now? I'm not sure, but I think he's found the armory. Somebody was up there ahead of me and left a blood trail. Oh God, Evan. No wonder you didn't tell me. He's going to blow this whole place to hell. Alright. Oh, I got a notification on Discord. What the heck? Oh, it's from another server. Never mind. It's nothing important. Okay. I want to check on something real quick before starting 87. Check and see if I got a message from Anarchy Softworks. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. Alright, back to the chapter then. Back to 87. It's not a race up the stairs to freedom. We practically crawl up, hanging on to one another as we climb. Me in the lead, Ben at the rear, and Sammy between us. The closed space is choked with fine particles of dust, and soon we're all coughing and wheezing loud enough, it seems to me, to be heard by every silencer in a 2-mile radius. I move with one hand extended in front of me in the blackness and call out our progress softly. First landing! 100 years later, we've reached the second landing, almost halfway to the top, but we haven't hit the debris Evan warned us about. I have to choose. Now that he's gone and it's too late, I've come up with about a dozen good arguments for why he shouldn't leave us. My best argument is this. He won't have time. The eye takes, what, about a minute or two from activation to detonation. Barely enough time to get to the armory doors. Okay, so you're going to go all noble and sacrifice yourself to save us. But then don't say things like, I'll find you, which implies there'll be an eye to find me after you unleash the green fireball from hell. Unless, maybe the eyes can be detonated remotely. Maybe that little silver thing he's carrying around. No, if that was a possibility, he would have come with us and set them off once we were at a safe distance away. Damn it. Every time I think I'm starting to understand Evan Walker, he slips away. It's like I'm blind from birth, trying to visualize a rainbow. If what I think is about to happen actually happens, will I feel his passing like he felt Lauren's, like a punch in the heart? We're halfway to the third landing when my hand smacks into stone. I turn to Ben and whisper, I'm going to see if I can climb it. There might be room to squeeze through at the top. I hand my rifle to him and get a grip with both hands. I've never done much rock climbing, okay? My experience is zero, but how hard could it be, really? I'm maybe 3 feet up when a rock slips beneath my foot and I come back down, smacking my chin hard on the way. I'll try, Ben says. Don't be stupid. You're hurt. I'd have to try if you made it, Cassie. He points out. He's right, of course. I hold on to Sammy while Ben scales the massive broken concrete and shattered reinforcement rods. I can hear him grunting every time he reaches up for the next handhold. Something wet drops onto my nose. Blood. Are you okay? I call up to him. Define okay. Okay means you're not bleeding to death. Okay. He's weak, Bosch said. I remember the way Ben used to stroll down the hallways at school, his broad shoulders rolling, zap, zapping people with his death ray smile, the master of his universe. I never would have called him weak. I never would have called him weak then, but the Ben Parish I knew then is very different from the Ben Parish who now pulls himself up a jagged wall of broken stone and twisted metal. The new Ben Parish has the eyes of a wounded animal. I don't know everything that's happened to him between that day in the gym and now, but I do know the others have succeeded in winnowing the weak from the strong. The weak have been swept away. That's the flaw in Vosh's master plan. If you don't kill all of us all at once, those who remain will not be the weak. It's the strong who remain, the bent but unbroken, like the iron rods that used to give us this concrete its strength. Floods, fires, earthquakes, disease, starvation, betrayal, isolation, murder. What doesn't kill us sharpens us, hardens us, schools us. You're beating plowshares into swords, Vosh. You're we you are remaking us. We are the clay, and you are the Michelangelo, and we will be your masterpiece. Hmm, that's interesting. Didn't Vosh say something like that to Ben, like way earlier in the plot? Hmm, interesting. 88. Well, I say after several minutes pass and Ben doesn't calm down, the slow way or the fast way. Just enough room, I think. His voice sounds tiny. It goes back pretty far, but I can see light up ahead. Light? Bright light, like floodlights and and what? It's not very stable. I can feel it slipping underneath me. I squat down in front of Sammy and tell him to climb aboard and wrap his arms around my neck. Hold on tight, Sam. He puts me in a chokehold. Ah! I gasp. Not that tight. Don't let me fall, Cassie, he whispers into my ear as I start up. I won't let you fall, Sam. He presses his face against my back, completely trusting I won't let him fall. He's been through 4 alien attacks, suffered God knows what in Vosh's death factory, and my brother still trusts that somehow everything will be okay. There really is no hope. There really is no hope, you know, Vosh said. I've heard those words before in another voice, my voice, in the tent in the woods, under the car, on the highway. Hopeless, useless, pointless. What Vosh spoke, I believed. In the safe room, I saw an infinite sea of upturned faces. If they had asked, would I have told them there was no hope, that it was pointless? Or would I have told them, climb onto my shoulders, I will not let you fall? Reach, grab, pull, step, rest. Reach, grab, pull, step, rest. Climb onto my shoulders, I will not let you fall. 89. Ben grabs my wrists when I near the top of the debris, but I grasp for him to pull Sammy up first. I've got nothing left for that final foot. I just hang there, waiting for Ben to grab me again. He heaves me into the narrow gap, a sliver of space between the ceiling and the top of the slide. The darkness up here is not as dense, and I can see his gaunt face dusted in concrete, bleeding from the fresh scratches. Straight ahead, he whispers. Maybe 100 feet. No room to stand or sit up. We're lying on our stomachs, nearly nose to nose. Cassie, there's nothing. The entire camp's gone. Just gone. I nod. I've seen what the eyes can do up close and personal. Have to rest, I pant. And for some reason, I'm worried about the quality of my breath. When was the last time I brushed my teeth? Sam's, you okay? Yes. Are you? Ben asks. Fine, okay. There's a definition that keeps changing, he says. They've lit the place up out there. The plane? It's there, big. One of those huge cargo planes. There's a lot of kids. We crawl towards we, no, we crawl toward the bar of light, seeping through the crack between the ruins and the surface. It's hard going. Sammy starts to whimper. His hands are scraped raw, his body bruised from the rough stone. We squeeze through spots so narrow, our backs scrape against the ceiling. Once I get stuck and it takes Ben several minutes to work me free. The light pushes back, the dark grows bright, so bright I can see individual particles of dust spinning against the inky backdrop. I'm thirsty, Sammy whines. Almost there, I assure him. See the light? At the opening, I can see across Death Valley East the same barren landscape of Camp Ash Pit times 10, thanks to the floodlights swinging from hastily erected poles anchored in the shafts that funneled air into the complex below. And above us, the night sky peppered with drones, hundreds of them, hovering 1,000 feet up, motionless, the gray underbellies glimmering in the light. On the ground below them, and far to my right, an enormous plane sits perpendicular to our position. When it takes off, it'll pass right by us. Haven't they loaded the... I start. Ben cuts me off with a hiss. They've started the engines. Which way is north? About 2 o'clock, he points. His face has no color. None. His mouth hangs open a little, like a dog panting. When he leans toward to look at the plane, I can see his entire shirt front is wet. Can you run? I ask. I have to, so yes. I turn to Sam. Once we get out in the open, climb back on, okay? I can run, Cassie. Sammy protests. I'm fast. I'll carry him, Ben offers. Don't be ridiculous, I say. I'm not as weak as I look. You must be thinking about Vosh. Of course not, I say back. But if you go down with him, we're all dead. Same with you. He's my brother. I'm carrying him. Besides, you're hurt and that's all I get out. The rest is buried underneath the roar of the huge plane coming toward us. This is it, Ben shouts, but I can't hear him. I have to read his lips. 90. We crouch at the opening, tips of our fingers, balls of our feet. The cold air vibrates in sympathy for the deafening thunder of the big plane screaming over the hard-packed ground. It's even with us when the front wheel rises, and that's when the first blast hits. And I think, a little early there, Evan. The ground heaves and we take off, Sammy bouncing up and down my back. And behind us, the stairwell seems to collapse soundlessly because all sound is buried beneath the roar of the plane. The blowback of the engine slams against my left side, and I stumble sideways and nearly slip. Ben catches me and hurls me forward. Then I go airborne. The earth bulges like a balloon, inflating and then snaps back, the ground splitting apart with such force. I'm afraid my eardrums have shattered. Luckily for Sam, I land on my chest, but that's unlucky for me because the impact knocks every cubic inch of breath out of my lungs. I feel Sammy's weight disappear and see Ben sling him over his shoulder, and then I'm up but falling behind and thinking, like hell, weak. Like hell. Hi, Stasha the Fox. Hello, Coprod. Coprod. Yeah, I'm reading. So, yep, chapter 90 of The Fifth Wave, and I'm going to continue. Like hell week. Like hell. Before us, the ground seems to stretch to infinity. Behind us, it's being sucked into a black hole, and the hole chases us as it expands, devouring everything in its path. One slip and we'll be sucked in, our bodies ground into microscopic pieces. I hear a high pitched screaming from above, and a drone slams into the earth a dozen yards away. Impact blows it apart, turns it into a grenade the size of a Prius, and 1,000 pieces of razor sharp sharpenel from the blast shred my khaki t-shirt and tear into my exposed skin. There's a rhythm to this rain of drones. First the banshee scream, then the explosion when they meet the rock hard ground, then the blast of debris, and we dodge between those raindrops of death, zigzagging across the lifeless landscape as that landscape is consumed by the hungry black hole chasing us. I have another problem, my knee, the old injury where a silencer in the woods cut me down. Every time my foot strikes the hard ground, a stabbing pain shoots down my leg, throwing off my side, slowing me down. I'm falling farther and farther behind, and that's what it feels like, not running so much as falling forward while someone smashes a sledgehammer against my knee over and over. A scar appears in the perfect nothingness ahead, grows larger. It's coming on fast, barreling straight toward us. Ben! I yell, but he can't hear me over the screaming booms and the ear-shattering implosion of 200 tons of rock collapsing into the vacuum created by the eyes. The fuzzy shadow coming toward us hardens into a shape, and then the shape becomes a Humvee bristling with gun turrets bearing down. Determined little bastards. Ben sees it now, but we have no choice. We can't stop. We can't turn back. At least it will suck them down too, I think. And then I fall. I'm not sure why. I don't remember the fall itself. 1 minute I'm up, the next my face is against hard stone, and I'm like, where did this wall come from? Maybe my knee locked up. Maybe I slipped, but I'm down and I feel the earth beneath me crying and screaming as the hole tears it apart, like a living creature being eaten alive by a hungry predator. I try to push myself up, but the ground is not cooperating. It buckles beneath me, and I fall again. There's Ben and Sam several yards ahead, still on their feet, and there's the Humvee cutting in front of them at the last second, burning rubber. It barely slows down. The door flies open, and a skinny kid leans out, his hand reaching for Ben. Ben hurls Sammy towards the kid, who hauls my brother inside, and then bangs his head hard against the side of the vehicle like he's saying, "Let's go, Parrish, let's go." And then, instead of jumping onto the Humvee like a normal person, Ben Parrish turns and races back for me. I wave him back. No time, no time, no time, no time, no time, no time. I can feel the breath of the beast on my bare legs, hot, dusty, pulverized stone and dirt. And then the ground splits open beneath Ben and me as the chunk I'm lying on breaks free and starts to slide into its lightless mouth. Who makes me which makes me start to slide backward, away from Ben, who has wisely thrown himself on his stomach at the edge of the fissure to avoid riding the chunk with me straight into the black hole. Our fingertips touch, flirt with one another. His pinky hooks around mine. Save me, Parrish. Pinky swear, okay? But he can't pull me up by my pinky. So in the half second he has to decide, he decides, flicks my finger free, and then takes his one and only shot to grab my wrist. I see his mouth open, but hear nothing come out as he throws himself backward, pulling me up and over, and he doesn't let go. He hangs onto my wrist with both hands and spins around like a shot putter, launching me toward the Humvee. I think my feet actually leave the ground. Another hand catches my arm, pulls me inside. I end up straddling the skinny guy's legs. Only now up close I see it isn't a guy, but a dark-eyed girl with skinny, straight black hair. Over her shoulder, I see Ben leap for the back of the Humvee, but I can't see if he makes it. Then I'm slammed against the door as the driver whips the wheel hard to the left to avoid a falling drone. He floors the gas. The hole has gobbled up all the lights by this point, but it's a clear night, and I have no trouble watching the edge of the pit rocketing toward the Humvee, the mouth of the beast opening wide. The driver, who is way too young to even have a permit, whips the wheel back and forth to avoid the torrent of drones exploding all around us. One hits a car length in front of us, no time to swerve around it, so we barrel through the blast. The windshield disintegrates, showering us with glass. The back wheels slip. We jounce, and then leap forward, inches ahead of the hole now. I can't look at it anymore, so I look up, where the mothership sails serenely across the sky, and beneath it, dropping fast forward toward the horizon, another drone. No, not a drone, I think. It's glowing. A falling star, it must be, its fiery tail like a silver cord connecting it to the heavens. YouTubing Jaguar, hello. I'm on chapter 91, so you're going to have to catch up on where I left off last time. It was chapter 85, I think. Let me check. I'm pretty sure it was 85. I know the cliffhanger was at the end of 84. Yep, 85. Yep, so that's where I started at 85, and now I'm on 91. All right. I'm going to take a sip of tea. Okay. By the time dawn approaches, we're miles away, hunkering beneath a highway overpass, where the kid with the very big ears they call Dumbo kneels beside Ben, applying a fresh dressing to the wound on his side. He's already worked on me and Sammy, pulling out pieces of sharpenel, swabbing, stitching, bandaging. He asked what happened to my leg. I told him I was shot by a shark. He doesn't react, doesn't seem confused or amused or anything. Like getting shocked by a shark is a perfectly natural thing in the aftermath of the arrival, like changing your name to Dumbo. When I asked him what his real name was, he said it was Dumbo. Ben is Zombie, Sammy is Nugget, Dumbo is Dumbo. Then there's Pound Cake, a sweet-faced kid who doesn't talk. Whether he can't or won't, I don't know. Oh, that sucks. You might have to defrag and clean the computer up. Anyways. Teacup, a little girl not much older than Sam's, who might be seriously messed up, and that worries me, because she holds and strokes and cuddles with an M16 that appears to be carrying a full clip. Finally, the pretty, dark-haired girl called Ringer, who's about my age, who not only has very shiny and very straight black hair, but also has the flawless complexion of an airbrushed model, the kind you see on the covers of fashion magazines, smiling arrogantly at you and the checkout line. Except Ringer never smiles, like Pound Cake never talks. Okay. Uh, so I've decided to cling to the possibility that she's missing some teeth. There's also something between her and Ben. Ah, I see. Yeah, it's bad to have too many tabs open. Anyways, there's also something between her and Ben. Something as in they appear to be tight. They spent a long time talking when we first got here. Not that I was spying on them or anything, but I was close enough to overhear the words chess, circle, and smile. Then I heard Ben ask, "Where'd you get the Humvee?" "Got lucky," she said. They moved a bunch of equipment and supplies to a staging area about 2 clicks due west of the camp. I guess in anticipation of the bombing. Guarded, but pound cake, and I had the advantage. You shouldn't have come back, Ringer. If I hadn't, we wouldn't be talking right now. That's not what I mean. Once you saw the camp below, once you saw the camp blow, you should have fallen back to Dayton. We might be the only ones who know the truth about the fifth wave. This is bigger than me. You went back for Nugget. That's different. Zombie, you're not that stupid. Ben is only a little bit of stupid. Don't you get it yet? The minute we decide that one person doesn't matter anymore, they've won. I have to agree with Little Miss Microscopic Pores on that point, while I hold my little brother in my lap to keep him warm. On the rise of ground that overlooks the abandoned highway, beneath a sky crowded with a billion stars, I don't care what the stars say about how small we are. One, even the smallest, weakest, most insignificant one, matters. It's almost dawn. You can feel it coming. The world holds its breath because there's really no guarantee that the sun will rise. That there was a yesterday doesn't mean there will be tomorrow. What did Evan say? We're here, and then we're gone. And it's not about the time we're here, but what we do with the time. And I whisper, Mayfly, his name for me. He had been in me. He had been in me, and I had been in him, together in an infinite space, and there had been no spot where he ended and I began. Sammy steers in my lap. He had dozed off. Now he's awake again. Cassie, why are you crying? I'm not. Shush and go back to sleep. He brushes his knuckles across my cheek. You are crying. Someone is coming towards us. It's Ben. I hurriedly wipe the tears away. He sits beside me very carefully, with a soft grunt of pain. We don't look at each other. We watch the fiery hiccups of the fallen drones in the distance. We listen to the lonely wind whistling through the dry tree branches. We feel the coldness of the frozen ground seeping up through the soles of our shoes. I wanted to thank you, he says. For what? I ask. You saved my life. I shrug. You picked me up when I fell, I say. So we're even. My face is covered in bandages. My hair looks like a bird nested in it. I'm dressed up like one of Sammy's toy soldiers, and Ben Parrish leans over and kisses me anyway. A light little peck, half cheek, half mouth. What's that for? I ask, my voice coming out of. What's that for? I ask, my voice coming out in a tiny squeak. Little girls from long ago, the freckled faced Cassie I was with, the fuzzy hair and knobby knees, an ordinary girl who shared an ordinary yellow school bus with him for an ordinary day. In all my fantasies about our first kiss, and there had been about 600,000 of them, I'd never once imagined it would be like that one. A dream kiss usually involved moonlight or fog, or moonlight and fog, a very mysterious and romantic combination, at least in the right locale. Moonlit fog beside a lake or a lazy river, romantic. Moonlit fog in almost any other place, like a narrow alleyway, Jack the Ripper. Do you remember the babies? I asked in my fantasies. And Ben always goes, Oh, yes, sure I do. The babies. Hey, Ben, I was wondering if you remember we rode the bus together in middle school, and you were talking about your little sister, and I told you Sammy was just born, too. And I was wondering if you remembered that. about them being born together, not together. That would make them twins, haha. I mean, at the same time, not the exact same time, but a week apart. Sammy and your sister, the babies. I'm sorry. Babies? Never mind, it's not important. Nothing is not important anymore. I'm shaking. He must notice, because he puts his arm around me, and we sit like that for a while. My arms around Sammy, Ben's arm around me, and together the three of us watch the sun break over the horizon, obliterating the dark in a burst of golden light. And that's the end of the novel. The end. There's a preview of the next one, the second book, titled The Infinite Sea. I shall get into that just to prepare you for what's to come up ahead eventually later on after off-stream showing of the Fifth Wave movie. Okay. Infinite Sea preview 1. The world is a clock winding down. I hear it in the wind's icy fingers scratching against the window. I smell it in the mildewed carpeting and the rotting wallpaper of the old hotel. I feel it in Teacup's chest as she sleeps. The hammering of her heart, the rhythm of her breath, warm in the freezing air, clock winding down. Across the room, Cassie Sullivan keeps watch by the window. Moonlight seeps through the tiny crack in the curtains behind her, lighting up the plumes of frozen breath exploding from her mouth. Her little brother sleeps in the bed closest to her, a tiny lump beneath the mounded covers. Window, bed, back again. Her head turns like a pendulum swinging. The turning of her head, the rhythm of her breath, like nuggets, like teacups, like mine, marking the time of the clock winding down. I ease out of bed. Teacup moans in her sleep and burrows deeper under the covers. The cold clamps down, squeezing my chest, though I'm fully dressed except for my boots and the parka, which I grab from the foot of the bed. Sullivan watches as I pull on the boots, and then when I go to the closet for my rucksack and rifle, I join her by the window. I feel like I should say something before I leave. We might not see each other again. So this is it, she says. Her fair skin glows in the milky light. The, the spray of freckles seems to float above her nose and cheeks. I adjust the rifle on my shoulder. This is it. Dumbo I get, the big ears. And Nugget because Sam is so small. Teacup too. Zombie I don't get so much, Ben won't say. I'm guessing Pound Cake has something to do with his roly-poliness. But why Ringer? I sense where this is going. Besides Zombie and her brother, she isn't sure of anyone anymore. The name Ringer gives her paranoia a nudge. I'm human. Yeah, she looks through the crack in the curtains to the parking lot 2 stories below, shimmering with ice. Someone else told me that too, and, like a dummy, I believed him. Not so dumb, given the circumstances. Don't pretend, Ringer, she snaps. I know you don't believe me about Evan. I believe you. It's his story that doesn't make sense. I head for the door before she tears into mine. I head for the door before she tears into me. You don't push Cassie Sullivan on the Evan Walker question. I don't hold it against her. Evan is a little branch growing out of the cliff that she clings to, and the fact that he's gone makes her hang on even tighter. Teacup doesn't make a sound, but I feel her eyes on me. I know she's awake. I go back to the bed. Take me with you, she whispers. I shake my head. We've been through this 100 times. I won't be gone long. A couple of days. Promise? No way, Teacup. Promises are the only currency left. They must be spent wisely. Her bottom lip quivers. Her eyes mist. Hey, I say softly. What did I tell you about that soldier? I resist the impulse to touch her. What's the first priority? No bad thoughts, she answers dutifully. Because bad thoughts do what? Make us soft. And what happens if we go soft? We die. And do we want to die? She shakes her head. Not yet. I touch her face. Cold cheek. Warm tears. Not yet. With no time left on the human clock, this little girl has probably reached middle age. Sullivan and me were old, and Zombie, the ancient of days. He's waiting for me in the lobby, wearing a ski jacket over a bright yellow hoodie, both scavenged from the remains inside the hotel. Zombie escaped from Camp Haven, wearing only a flimsy pair of scrubs. Beneath his scruffy beard, his face is the telltale scarlet of fever. The bullet wound I gave him ripped open his escape from Camp Haven, patched up by our 12-year-old medic, must be infected. He leans against the counter, pressing his hand against his side, trying to look like everything's cool. I was starting to think you changed your mind, Zombie says, dark eyes sparkling as if he's teasing, though that could be the fever. I shake my head. Teacup. She'll be okay. To reassure me, he releases his killer smile from its cage. Zombie doesn't fully appreciate the pricelessness of promises, or he wouldn't toss them out so casually. It's not Teacup I'm worried about. You look like shit, Zombie. It's this weather. Wreaks havoc on my complexion. A second smile leaps out at the punchline. He leans forward, willing me to answer with my own. One day, Private Inger, you're going to have to smile at something I say, and the world will break in half. I'm not prepared to take on that responsibility. He laughs, and maybe I hear a little rattle deep in his chest. Here, he offers me another brochure of the caverns. I have one, I tell him. Take this one too, in case you lose it. I won't lose it, Zombie. I'm sending Pound Cake with you, he says. No, you're not. I'm in charge. So I am. You need Pound Cake here more than I need him out there. He nods. He knew I would say no, but he couldn't resist one last try. Maybe we should maybe we should abort, he says. I mean, it isn't that bad here. About 1,000 bed bugs, a few hundred rats, and a couple dozen dead bodies. But the view is fantastic. Still joking, still trying to make me smile. He's looking at the brochure in his hand. 74 degrees year round until we get snowed in or the temperature drops again. The situation is unsustainable, Zombie. We've stayed too long already. I don't get it. We've talked this to death, and now he wants to keep beating the corpse. I wonder about Zombie sometimes. We have to chance it. You know we can't go in blind, I go on. The odds are there are other survivors hiding in those caves. They might not be ready to throw out the welcome mat, especially if they've met any of Sullivan's silencers. Or recruits like us, he adds. So I'll scope it out and be back in a couple of days. I'm holding you to that promise. It wasn't a promise. There's nothing left to say. There are a million things left to say. This might be the last time we see each other, and he's thinking it, too, because he says, Thank you for saving my life. I put a bullet in your side, and now you might die. He shakes his head. His eyes sparkle with fever. His lips are gray. Why did they have to name him Zombie? It's like an omen. The first time I saw him, he was doing knuckle push-ups in the exercise yard, face contorted with anger and pain, blood pooling on the asphalt beneath his fists. Who is that guy? I ask. His name is Zombie. He fought off the plague and won, they told me. I didn't believe them. Nobody beats the plague. The plague is a death sentence. And Resnick, the drill sergeant, bending over him, screaming at the top of his lungs, and Zombie in the baggy blue jumpsuit, pushing himself past the point where one more push is impossible. I don't know why I was surprised when he ordered me to shoot him so he could keep his unkeepable promise to Nugget. When you look death in the eye and death blinks first, nothing seems impossible, even mind reading. I know what you're thinking, he says. No, you don't. You're wondering if you should kiss me goodbye. Why do you do that? I ask. Flirt with me. He shrugs. His grin is crooked, like his body, leaning against the counter. It's normal. Don't you miss normal? He asks, eyes digging deep into mine, always looking for something. I'm never sure what. Drive-throughs, movies on a Saturday night, and ice cream sandwiches, and checking your Twitter feed. I shake my head. I didn't Twitter. Facebook? Now I'm getting a little pissed. Sometimes it's hard for me to imagine how Zombie made it this far. Pining for things we lost is the same as hoping for things that can never be. Both roads dead end in despair. It's not important, I say. None of that matters. Zombie's laugh comes from deep in his gut. It bubbles to the surface like the superheated air of a hot spring, and I'm not pissed anymore. I know he's putting on the charm, and somehow knowing what he's doing does nothing to blunt the effect. Another reason Zombie's a little unnerving. It's funny, he says. How much we thought all of it did. You know what really matters? He waits for my answer. I feel as if I'm being set up for a joke, so I don't say anything. The tardy bell. Now he's forced me into a corner. I know there is manipulation going on here, but I feel helpless to stop it. The tardy bell? Most ordinary sound in the world. And when all of this is done, there'll be a tardy bells again. He presses the point. Maybe he's worried I don't get it. Think about it. When a tardy bell rings again, normal is back. Kids rushing to class, sitting around bored, waiting for the final bell, and thinking about what they'll do that night, that weekend, that next 50 years. They'll be learning like we did. They'll be learning like we did about natural disasters and disease and world wars. You know, when the aliens came, 7 billion people died, and then the bell will ring and everybody will go to lunch and complain about the soggy tater tots. Like, whoa, 7 billion people? That's a lot. That's sad. Are you going to eat all those tots? That's normal. That's what matters. So it wasn't a joke. Soggy tater tots? Okay, fine. None of that makes sense. I'm a moron. He smiles. His teeth seem very white, surrounded by the scruffy beard. And now, because he suggested it, kissing him, and if the stubble on his upper lip would tickle. I push the thought away. Promises are priceless, and a kiss is a kind of promise, too. Oh, I see a new person. Hello, Albedo. Great Depression 2, Electric Boogaloo. 2 Jaguar, not really. Anyways, yeah, that's the preview of The Infinite Sea. And it is a good book. I did read the whole thing of Infinite Sea, but it's not quite as good as The Fifth Wave. Wow, that took a while. Yeah, it's a really thick book. Yeah, it took a while. Like what? A year? Almost a year. Just about. Yep. Anywho's. Yep. So, gotta have to pick a date. Um, I know around Christmas time, I have off for 3 days that week, so I could maybe show the movie then around Christmas time. It's the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. I have those 3 days off in a row, so it's a, it's an idea anyway. See what other people have to say, or I could just show it for like in January or something. I don't know. I'll talk it over. Well, what do you guys think? Around Christmas time or sometime the beginning of next year? I don't know. Think about it. I'll just put a pin in it and think about it. Alrighty. I'll check Twitter for a second. I know I got a couple of notifications. Probably something. 3 notifications. Yep. So yeah, I trolled a little bit of the stupid Twitter trend. Gun laws save lives. So I put down hashtag gun laws save lives. Nope. Here's an example of how stupid and self-destructive this is. And I put up the meme where it's a photo taken of from it's a propaganda thing taken from Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense. It reads, "Who's the real criminal? The guy taking your wallet or you for owning a gun?" And then at the bottom half of this meme, there's a guy who thinks he's holding the magic 8 ball. He says, "Magic 8 ball, am I stupid?" And he's holding a bowling ball with the 3 holes up. Okay, January. All right. I'll show the movie off stream sometime in January. Yeah, yeah, just about 2 years. Just about. Whew, and a bunch has happened. Bunch has happened around the community. Bunch has happened um, during and in between streams on my side of things. Well, it's a shame that Anarchy Softworks could make it. I don't know, it's still early. Anyways, favorite part in the book. What was everyone's favorite part? Favorite chapter? Favorite part in the whole plot? Whatever. I'm gonna have to think back on this one. Hmm. Let's see. I think favorite part in this novel is I don't know, something exciting. I guess oh, the whole plot twist when the kids who were raised in that death boot camp, raised not raised, like indoctrinated, I mean trained and indoctrinated, when they found out, like Ringer and Zombie and the rest in Zombie Squad, they found out that the trackers were in them uh, to keep track of them and also to kill them. And those who didn't have the trackers, through their special gear, their eyewear, anyone who didn't have a tracker in them glowed green. They were lied to, and the people through their gear who glowed green weren't alien infested. Where Cassie and Evan mingled, like when they connected, like where they didn't know where Evan ended and Cassie began. Yeah, that was interesting. Like the description of Cassie's experience with that was like a flower opening to the rain. Yep, and Evan and Cassie and the rest of them, and some new characters. Oh, and Vosh. Yep, he returns too in the Infinite Sea. Yeah, I figured. Uh, yeah. Yep, that's cool. Yeah, that plot twist. Woo! Yeah, that's pretty much the main reason why I picked up this book. And I could like imagine it happening to kids in the military under the guise of an alien invasion. I can imagine that happening. And that's something concerning how messed up and twisted and corrupt and just nuts uh, people on this world are today, thanks to indoctrination and on spreading. Yeah, celebrate good times. Come on, bang your head. Oh, Final Fantasy fanfare victory. Oh, and Infinite Sea isn't quite as long. I think it's a bit shorter than the first one. Uh, I guess. Cody, was there anything in the book that was your favorite part, or what you thought was neat or something, or interesting? Just wondering. Go ahead and put this book down since I am done. Yeah, I knew there wasn't much left to go. I knew that. Yeah, but you heard part of it, didn't you? Yeah, that it's actually in various streams, multiple streams. This book been through it almost a whole year. Hold on, let me check YouTube, see what webisode I first started reading this. And how long ago that was. I'm look see. All right, scroll down. Let's see here. I know that took a break for a while, like after we started reading it. Let's see here. Reading. Here we go. This was webisode Ancapistani Lounge webisode number 26. Yeah, that far back. And the date this aired was Hold on. Hold on. Oh, it was actually November of last year. Well, just a little bit over a year then. Yeah, that's when I started reading this book, November 12th of last year. Okay. Yeah, a little bit over a year. I bet you didn't hear the mashup of the celebration song with the Bang Your Head Metal Health by Quite Right. Oh, it's great. It's one of the funniest mashups I ever heard that actually sound good together. It's great. I remember first hearing it and I just could not stop laughing for out. um yeah, you're gonna have to I think hold on. Let me look it up. The YouTube channel. Let me pull up that playlist with the funny music stuff on it so I can get the here we go. Music and weird music stuff. Eh, don't want to highlight anything. All right, so the channel is Bill McClintock. I'm gonna put the link. Yeah, took a break. Took a couple of breaks. Anyways, yeah, that's the song. Enjoy whenever. Another amusing mashup was Whip My Hair Back and Forth mesh with Willow Smith's Whip My Hair Back and Forth mashed up with Devo's Whip It Good. It's really amusing, but not quite as funny as the. Which Postal Cat avatar do you like best? His usual avatar on the one on Hapu's video collaboration? I like his usual one, to be honest. The one on Hapu's video is cute, but the one in which Postal Cat's usual avatar is, I like that one better. How about you, Cody? No, just talking for a while, I guess, until I decide to end the stream. Um, Oh, okay. So you like the Hot Blue one. I liked collaboration itself, actually. It's pretty good. And I think it's the only one collaboration response video that Hot Blue did. And he did pretty good at tearing along along with Bristol Cat Thought Slime's video about quote capitalist entitlement end quote. They just tore that video to shreds. Yeah, Thought Slime, his videos have been torn to shreds, thoroughly refuted, um, by multiple people, including that guy, that libertarian comedian, podcast host, Dave Smith. He responded really well to Thought Slime's claim that ANCAPs aren't anarchist. Hmm. Alrighty. And oh yeah, I've had to catch up sometime on Hot Blue's channel with his previous meme things. I'll catch up eventually. Oh, JC, hey. Yeah, you're gonna have to catch up. Not too long ago, I finished reading the Fifth Wave novel. Anyways, how was 2 Cents live stream? Was it good and fun? Did 2 Cents progress further in his game on Pokemon Sword? Yeah, that's the thing with Ancoms. They're statists masquerading as anarchists. As I usually say, Ancommies, statists in disguise. uh, I see. Well, congrats 2 Cents on progressing through your game. On my gaming channel, I've only put up gameplay stuff from various games. I don't know when I'm gonna do an actual let's play. That is, if I can get that Xbox game capture to work with me on it. I was only doing like parts of different games, I guess. From a couple N64 games to various PC games, including board games and multi-platform games like Final Fantasy 13 and an interesting indie game called Symphony. That's really interesting. You play levels with your audio with your audio files um, during this game, and after you complete through a level, listening to some audio that's longer than a minute and 30 seconds for the first time, you unlock a new weapon or an item. The thing that's one of the few downsides is that there should have been more weapons, more variety of weapons. I'm hoping that I can find another scatter shooter, or rather, the rare type of scatter shooter. Oh, yes, I am a huge Final Fantasy fan, and it's been my first playthrough of the 13th one, and I'm glad that I bought it off Steam and been able to play through it. It's quite fun. Um, Anarchy Softworks didn't like it as much. He thought it was a bit linear. That's what he told me. But I like it. The story is really interesting. And I like the characters. And the leveling up system, that's neat. And the different party battle strategies you can customize. The different the different roles that you could give them, from medic to synergist, which is gives you magic ability, like magic boosts, like uh bravery's like strength enhancement, faith is magic casting enhancement. And there's protect and shell. I forget what vigilance does. And there's also element enchanting your weapons to, like, for example, the commandos that are like the brawlers that use their weapons and just whoop up on the monsters. Those are the commandos. And enchant, like if a certain monster is weak against a certain element, and that's their weapon is enchanted with that certain element. Yeah. Anyways, I played other Final Fantasies as well. I played a little bit of the first two, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-2, I didn't like a whole lot. Bravely Default? No. I sort of heard of it, but I don't have a 3DS, so I hear it's good though. If I ever do save up and get a 3DS, I might get that game. Anyways, I also played number 12 as well. Amazing World of Gumball? No, I haven't. I've seen other various Final Fantasy parodies though, like the one on Robot Chicken, where the cast of Final Fantasy VII works at works at a fast food joint. That's adorable. Um, and I've also seen um, this really some funny Final Fantasy abridged series. A couple. One is like really funny, and the one is just like one a one shot of entitled Final Fantasy games that are about like 20 something minutes long. I've watched two of those. Let's see what else. Mm, oh yeah, there's this one Mega 64 or some channel like that where they do parodies of video games, like live action parodies of various video games, and it's quite silly to watch. There's one they did of Final Fantasy 12. There was one guy who was dressed in as Vaughn in cosplay, going around quoting what Vaughn said to spread notoriety within the town about Bosch being alive. I'm Bosch von Rosenberg. Don't believe in Andor's lies. And the guy that was dressed as Bond says, "I'm Captain Bash. Don't believe Andor's lies." He was going around telling people that, and various people. One guy thought it was like a, I don't know, a Star Wars type of thing. No. And there's this one guy with his kids that didn't want the van cosplayer to come near him or his kids. Got pissed. It's like, come here. If you ever near my kids again. Ugh. Um, Final Fantasy 2, I've played. It's the one with the characters Furion, and I think one of the girl characters Marie. Final Fantasy 2 as those characters. Uh, I guess it's the FF4. I don't know. I have it. I play it on the PlayStation. It's Final Fantasy Origins and the so-called 1 and 2. They're like in a CD set together. Nope. I guess he's busy doing stuff, maybe doing family stuff. Maybe he'll come back one Monday night. We'll see. He's a really cool dude. I like chatting with him, and it's cool that he's in my server. I did send a call invite to him. As I like just before I started streaming. I usually send him. I've been sending him the call links in advance, and I gave him the option to join if he wants to. It was really cool when having him on. At first having him on the interview and stuff. Not Leon Furion. Hold on, I'll type out his name. Furion. That. I think that's how it's spelled. When you say Leon, I'm thinking Resident Evil or who named Squall gives himself in the Kingdom Hearts universe. But first of all, it's Leon Kennedy. He's the cooler Leon all the way. Yeah, I figured. I figured. I didn't get really far into it though. I think I got stuck. I think I was poisoned and it was walking along the field. And yeah, and I was still affected. I didn't have any antidotes. I think I had a tent and the tent didn't work. I don't know. It was a really long time ago. What does he make? He makes indie games. Like he did one that's like I did do a video on my gaming channel in which I tried out Cyborg Ninja versus the Third Reich for the first time. That's super difficult. Ugh. I don't know when I'll get back to it then. Anyways, yes, Cyborg Ninja versus the Third Reich. You can find that on Steam. That's a 2D side scroller platformer action game. And the other one I've yet to try is a punk horror type first person shooter game called Suffer. I know I know if you have to play more Cyborg Ninja. It's an interesting, challenging game, and I have to turn the volume down because the music comes on loud. I have to turn it down. And I've yet to figure out what the health items are in that game because I keep getting shot at. And there's the times when I was like, I was still getting used to the controls, and there was like one in which I had to go up, and I couldn't just jump and dash or just double jump up. It was like a really high up jump. And I figured out eventually that you can use the sword to scale your way up, jump up and up the walls. So that's an interesting type of thing. Anyway, on my gaming channel, check it out. Sylveon Bay, he was in a voice call with me. We were talking while I was playing. And sometime I'm gonna have to do a gameplay video with commentary of my first time trying out Suffer. I'm sure that ought to be interesting. And the latest game I bought from Steam is something my board gaming buddy friend online, Bond Daddy, Bo Daddy, no Bond Daddy. I guess it's the way to pronounce the username. Anyways, he recommended Star Realms, and it was on sale only for like $1, so I bought it. I tried it out. Few times versus the computer, and I won one set of 3 rounds. It's an interesting card deck building game. Like it's sci-fi, space themed, and there's these different ships, and you are defending your base from your opponent while um, beating down the base's shield. And when it reaches 0, you win. Same for the opponent. If your base shield comes down to 0 and your base blows up, and you lose and the opponent wins. And there's all these different cards to choose from to give you firepower. Some give you like gold, so you could get other cards with the game's money. La, la, la. Yep, so Star Realms. It's kind of fun. I still like Ascension though, because I played that more and and the artwork is really cool, and I got all the expansions that were available, including some the promos that were available. That game is fun. Played it a bunch of times. Anyways, I've mostly been playing Final Fantasy 13. And I guess on a random note, since I'm just mentioning things, it's been some years ago when I was into like role play writing stuff with friends online, just like mostly general stuff. It's like writing story scenes together with buddies. Good times. And I eventually missed it so much that I decided to get back into it again. And I got a Discord server in which I'm reviving some storyline stuff. Some people joined, including Zachary Colley. That's cool. He just has to manage his time better to get his next reply up with his 2 original characters. And I got my original character and my newest character to write as, and I've been solo writing in between. Yeah, Hope is a interesting character. And I decided to get back to roleplay stuff on Dreamwidth. And that's haven't been very successful in enabling so far, but I'm patient. It's only been a day or two. No, yeah, about a day so far. So Dead Matter on PC. Okay, cool. Cool beans. Oh yeah, and I got other than the Steam games, I got the free Nintendo 64 emulator and some ROM games. I especially picked out a couple of my favorites in which I can't save because the controller pack I have got corrupted somehow. And you can't save games with that anymore. So I I've yet to get back to my game of Gex 3. Been replaying that. I did upload some gameplay footage of that on my gaming channel. That game is fun. And I also got one of the earlier Gex, the Gecko games, Entered the Gecko, which is before um, one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games ever, Deep Cover Gecko. I like the funny lines, the funny pop culture lines throughout the game. Um, oh, and Rayman 2. I've yet to get back into that. Yeah, that's a very fun game. Old game, but still great. And I picked up a ROM of one of the Nintendo 64 games I played through, but I don't think I've completed. And I rented the game, I think. Cody says it sucks that most game reviewers have either sold out their integrity, IGN, or have decided to show their political opinions, like Total Biscuit and Boogie. Mm. It's emulator. Yeah, it's emulator. Yeah, with the water the way it is. That's the only thing weird about playing it, but I don't really mind it. It plays other than the how weird the water looks with the bars and moving bars on the water, um, on the surface. It plays really good. And the Earthworm Jim 3D, that's also on the same Nintendo 64 emulator that I got. That actually plays pretty good. I've yet to get back into that one. And I got some other ROM, N64 ROMs that I hadn't actually played on the N64 itself. Um, yeah. And it would be cool to have Super Nintendo emulator and replay some Super Nintendo favorites. Like Super Mario World, um, possibly Super Mario World 2. Um, gosh. Oh, Link to the Past. Yeah, The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past. That's a great one. Um, hmm. Darius Twin. Yes, I love that game. Yeah, SNES games. Yep. Um. Oh, original Mario Kart. I don't know. Maybe I'll pass on that. Playing on the emulator. I mean. Ah. Hmm. Interesting. DS Mario Kart. I actually have that as a ROM on an emulator, that a DS emulator that I can play on my phone. I haven't tried out that ROM yet, but I know it's listed there. I've been bouncing around some DS ROM games, like a fun little Kirby game, the Squeak Squad. Um, what did I first play on there? Oh yeah, Spirit Tracks, Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. I've yet to get back to that. Yeah, the original Rainbow Road on on the first Super Mario Kart. Hmm. Um. Oh, F-Zero. Remember that game? That's a fun racing game. Um. Yeah, that was another one I played on the Super Nintendo. Er, Top Gear. Played at a relative's house. Oh, I think there was a Jurassic Park video game for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, Jurassic Park 3D or something like that. That's a fun one. Oh, The Lion King game. Yeah. Not too long ago, maybe some months back, I did start a little bit on the remix. No, wait. Not no, it's Top Gear. Yeah, Top Gear. The night track from Top Gear, where the bass, with the cool bass part goes. So it goes something like that. I got part of the that bass line down. I've yet to get back to it when I'm motivated and inspired enough to get back into music making. Remixes are fun, they're just really challenging. It takes a while to finish and to get it good enough, especially when doing a headphones test. It usually takes me at least a month to complete a remix, and I completed two. Uh, yeah. Lufia? I never heard of it. Got disinterested. Mario and DS after the 3DS came out. Yeah. I'm interested in playing the remake of Majora's Mask for the 3DS and some goofy games like Tomodachi Life and Miitopia. Those look entertaining. Anyways, I never heard of Lufia. What's that one like? Oh, someone responded to my tweet about that moms demand action. She was like, "Oh, she's a Trump supporter or something." What did they mean by this? The I'm just gonna reply. Probably the fear-based belief that a gun owner is more dangerous than a wallet thief. Hey, that rhymes. I'm not going to type that in, but yeah. Close the tab. Lufia. JRPG series, with the second game having more Zelda-like elements added to it. Interesting. Ocarina of Time 3D. Not having to pause and unpause to unequip the iron boots makes the water temple so much easier. Cool. It's been a while since I played Ocarina of Time or gone back to my game of Majora's Mask. I know I started that game again some months back because I missed it. I forget what got me into playing it again. I don't know, maybe I was just thinking about it. Um, the the on rail shooter of the Jurassic Park arcade game. Nope, I haven't played that. Nope, I have not played that one. I didn't even know such a game existed. You know what? I might get a Sega Genesis emulator because there's a bunch of interesting Sega Genesis games, other than the Sonic ones, of course. And there's this interesting spaceship fighter game. I forget what it's called, but power ups had like these orbs that like helped you shoot. It was like you could gather up a series of these orbs that when you shoot, they would shoot at the enemy ships. It was like these helper shooter orbs or whatever. House of the Dead series. I think I might have seen my mom play them. I think that's on the Wii. Got a Wii. Haven't I haven't actually played them myself, but I saw my mom play them. Been a while since I played on the Wii. There's some fun ones. Um, oh yeah, and on the DS, I've yet to actually complete the original first two Scribblenauts games. Those are kind of neat. I recently got Scribblenauts Unlimited off Steam when that was temporarily on sale. Think I Yeah, I think I bought that one. Oh yeah, I did. I remember. I just haven't installed it yet. Yeah, Scribblenauts is very interesting. Very interesting puzzle, action platformer strategy combination of a game. Yeah. Yep. That's what my mom has played. I've seen her play that one. Also got a Resident Evil game for the Wii. I forget what it's called though. Like gun shooters, it's a real shame that that style of game hasn't found a home on VR headsets like the Oculus Rift. Yeah. Yep, that's too bad. Um, check. Mm. Well, I'm starting to run into things. Rally X. LAX. Interesting and fun game. But it was hard. So hard for me. Hunter shooter. I actually haven't played a lot of shooters. I've played some, but not many. I think the one first person shooter game that I liked was the Metroid Prime for GameCube. I've yet to get back to that one. I got the first one and its sequel, which I haven't played yet because I want to beat Metroid Prime first one of these days. LEX. Was it an M? Probably. Already. Well. Yep, my poke at the stupid Twitter trend, gun laws save lives, that lie. Yeah, that's starting to get a little viral, guys and gals. Good. Yee. Yeah. Metroid Prime is epic. I got pretty far in that one, but I haven't beat it yet. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Anyways. Huh? The. Yeah, I was looking at Dream Widdith, where I partially started to do the roleplay writing stuff again. Hmm. Well, I'm gonna end the stream since it's been a little over 2 hours. Yep. So thank you for all for in the chat for joining in. YouTubing Jaguar, Cody Foray, Tech Helicopter Cats, Dash the Fox, Albedo, again welcome, and JC Armitage. Anyways, thanks for joining, and thanks for tuning in to the end of the awesome book, The Fifth Wave novel. And stay tuned in January, in which I'll do off-stream, offline showing of the movie. And YouTube and Jaguar, you should get Discord by then, because I think I'll do the screen sharing on Discord. Let me know when you get Discord, okay? Okay, good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. It was fun. Uh, Finishing the book, reading the preview of the second one, and just chatting for a while. Anyways, good night.